Okay, so ready to dive into some seriously smooth conversations. We're tackling How to Talk to Anyone by Leil Lowndes. And this book, it's not your typical self-help stuff. It goes deep, like into psychology and sociology and even like animal behavior.
It is fascinating how Lowndes pulls from all these different fields. It's like she's saying, hey, communication is way more than just words.
Right, the whole human experience thing.
Yeah, and she even uses that Hans the horse example, you know, the one that supposedly could do math,
Oh, yeah.
to show how even animals pick up on those subtle cues that we miss.
It's like we're missing a whole layer of communication.
We are, and it's often happening subconsciously. Lowndes is all about like tuning into those levels and becoming more aware.
Okay, so let's start with first impressions.
Yeah.
That crucial first 10 seconds.
Yeah, those first few moments are huge. People are forming an impression based on everything, your appearance, your body language, the tone of your voice.
It's like that mental snapshot she talks about.
Exactly. And Lowndes gives us the techniques to control that snapshot and make it work for us.
So like the flooding smile. Not just a quick grin, but a smile that kind of builds as you really see the person.
It's personalized, not automatic.
Right, so it feels genuine.
Yeah, and there's actual science behind this. A real smile, it releases endorphins, both in you and the person you're smiling at.
So it's like a mood booster.
It is. Creates warmth connection. But a fake smile? That can actually make people uneasy.
It's like you're saying a smile is more than just a facial expression.
Way more. It's a social signal that can trigger a whole cascade of emotions.
So the flooding smile is like setting the tone with warmth and connection. But what about sticky eyes? Keeping eye contact even after the person stops talking.
It's not about intimidation, it's about showing you're really listening.
So it's like saying, I'm present, I'm engaged.
Exactly, and that's powerful in a world full of distractions. But then there's epoxy eyes, holding someone's gaze even when someone else is talking.
Now that sounds a little intense.
Epoxy eyes is definitely bolder, more about signaling romantic interest, that I can't take my eyes off you vibe.
Ah, so it's all about context. Sticky eyes for trust epoxy eyes when you want to turn up the heat.
Exactly. It's about using nonverbal cues strategically.
Okay, I'm seeing how these little details can really make a difference.
They do. Lowndes is all about those details and the psychology behind them.
Okay, so we've got smiles and eye contact. What's next in this communication playbook?
Well, no guide to talking to anyone would be complete without body language. Lowndes calls it learning a secret language.
It's true, though. Sometimes you meet someone and you instantly feel at ease.
Right, or you get a bad vibe, even if they're saying all the right things.
It's like our bodies are talking even when we're not.
They are, and often subconsciously. Lowndes' techniques bring those signals into our awareness so we can control them.
So like the big baby pivot, treating the person like a delighted infant.
Yeah, you turn towards them, smile warmly, make them the center of attention.
Sounds a little strange.
But think about how we respond to babies. We smile, we make eye contact.
It's instinctual.
It is. And by mirroring those behaviors, we tap into that same response in adults.
Even if they don't realize it.
Exactly. It creates a subconscious connection. And Lowndes says it can be incredibly powerful in building rapport.
Like hacking our biology to make a good impression. Love it. What other body language hacks does she have?
There's the hello old friend technique. Imagine the person you're meeting as a dear friend you haven't seen in years.
Interesting. I can see how that would change your energy.
The key is the feeling, not the acting. Tap into that warmth and familiarity.
So shifting your internal state so it shows in your body language.
Exactly. Our thoughts and feelings, they show up in how we carry ourselves.
This makes me think about how much I fidget when I'm nervous.
Lowndes addresses that with limit the fidget, becoming aware of those subconscious movements that betray anxiety.
Right, like tapping your foot or twirling your hair. It can be distracting.
And make you seem less confident. Lowndes says by limiting those movements, we can project composure and self-assurance.
So it's about setting the right signals.
Exactly. Okay, so we've covered smiles, eye contact, and body language. What's next on Lowndes' agenda for becoming a master communicator?
Let's hear it.
Well, now that we've got the groundwork laid with first impressions and nonverbal cues, it's time to tackle the art of conversation itself.
Yeah.
Starting with that often dreaded beast, small talk.
Ugh, small talk. Can't we just skip to the deep stuff?
I hear you. But Lowndes reframes small talk as an opportunity to build rapport. It's not about meaningless chit-chat, it's about finding common ground.
Okay, I could see that. It's like those opening moves in a chess game.
Exactly. Setting the stage for something more engaging. And just like chess, there are moves that give you an advantage.
Like what?
Well, there's make a mood match, mirroring your conversation partner's energy and tone.
So if someone is super upbeat, You match that energy.
Exactly. And if someone is more reserved, you adopt a calmer approach.
It's about creating that sense of synchronicity.
It is. Showing you're paying attention and meeting them where they are, like you're speaking their language, not just verbally, but emotionally.
It's about creating that comfortable dynamic.
Right. One that makes the other person feel heard and understood. And that's the foundation for any good conversation, whether it's at a party or a business meeting.
Okay, this reminds me, I've always struggled with making small talk about boring topics feel engaging.
That's a common one. Lowndes has a technique for that called prosaic with passion.
Prosaic with passion. What's that all about?
Bringing genuine enthusiasm to even the most ordinary topics.
So it's not just what you say, but how you say it.
Exactly. Think about those speakers who can make anything interesting. It's their delivery.
The passion and the energy.
Right, and a sense of humor. It's like finding those little nuggets of interest in everyday life.
And sharing them in a way that sparks a connection.
Exactly. Lowndes says that by bringing that same enthusiasm to our everyday conversations, we can make them more memorable. But what about those times when you get asked a direct question like, where are you from? Or what do you do?
Those can feel so limiting, like one-word answers.
I know what you mean. It's easy to fall into that trap and shut down the conversation before it even starts. But Lowndes has some clever techniques to turn those simple questions into engaging conversations.
Okay, this is what I need.
Yeah.
Tell me more about these conversation-saving techniques. What's the secret?
Lowndes calls those one-word answers naked cities and naked jobs. And she's got a solution. Bait the conversational hook.
Bait the hook? Okay,
Yeah.
I like where this is going.
It's about giving a little something extra, tidbit to spark interest and keep things flowing. So instead of just, I'm from Chicago,
You'd say.
I'm from Chicago, the city of big shoulders and even bigger pizzas, something like that.
Ah, I see. So you're adding a little personality.
Right, giving them something to connect with. And it works for jobs too.
Never the naked job.
Exactly. Instead of just saying, I'm a podcast scriptwriter, maybe mention a deep dive you enjoy.
Oh, like how much I love making these conversations sound natural.
Perfect. You're giving context, making yourself memorable. First impressions matter, right?
They do. I'm realizing I've been underestimating small talk. It's not just filling silence, it's about connection.
Exactly. And Lowndes has more techniques for navigating those social situations, like introducing people,
Oh man, that can be so awkward.
especially with two strangers. It's like setting them up for failure.
This is so-and-so, this is so-and-so, and then crickets.
Lowndes calls that the naked introduction, the solution. You guessed it, bait the hook.
So instead of just names, you give a little conversation starter.
Exactly, like a shared interest or a hobby, even a compliment one has given the other.
Ah, so you're giving them a springboard for connection.
Right, it shows you're actually invested in helping people connect. A small gesture, but it makes a difference.
I like that. But what if the conversation fizzles even after you've baited the hook?
Lowndes has got us covered. It's called Be a Word Detective.
Ooh, a word detective. I'm listening.
It's about listening closely for clues to their interests, like a conversational Sherlock Holmes.
Finding those hidden gems to revive the conversation.
Exactly. Pay attention to their words, the topics they bring up, their tone of voice. Look for those hints that reveal their passions.
And then steer the conversation in that direction.
You got it. It shows genuine interest and takes the pressure off you to come up with topics.
It's like you're saying, hey, tell me more about that thing you're passionate about.
Exactly. You're being present, curious, and responsive.
This reminds me of those times when I feel like I'm just talking at people, not connecting.
Lowndes calls that swiveling the spotlight. Imagine a spotlight between you. When you talk, it's on you. When they talk, you swivel it to them.
Ah, so it's less about being a great talker and more about being a great listener.
Right. By focusing on them asking questions, you become surprisingly interesting. People love to feel heard.
It's like the secret to being interesting is to be interested.
Exactly. And there's a technique called parroting to help you stay engaged.
Like actually repeating what they say.
Not exactly. It's more like repeating the last few words, but in a way that invites them to elaborate.
So if they say, I had an amazing vacation in Italy.
You might say, amazing vacation in Italy.
Ah, so it encourages them to keep talking.
Right. It's simple, but keeps things flowing and prevents awkward silence. And it takes the pressure off you.
Like tossing the ball back in their court.
Exactly. It keeps the focus on them, making them feel heard, which strengthens the connection.
I'm noticing a lot of Lowndes techniques are about shifting the focus to the other person.
You're right. It's about making them feel seen, heard, and valued.
Like communication is a dance, not a solo performance.
Well said. And the best dancers are the ones who can adapt to their partner and create a harmonious experience.
Okay, I need to practice my conversational dance moves. What else is in this social dynamics playbook?
One of my favorites is tracking. Paying attention to those little details people share and bringing them up later.
So if someone mentions training for a marathon, you ask how it's going. But wouldn't that be kind of creepy?
It's about sensitivity. Done right, it shows you were listening, you care. Creates a sense of intimacy.
Yeah, I guess it's about that balance. Interest but not crossing boundaries. Remembering those details can make someone feel special.
Exactly. And Lowndes takes it further with the business card dossier.
Okay, now that sounds interesting. What's that?
It's taking notes on business cards after you meet someone. Key details from the conversation. Interests, hobbies, even anecdotes.
Like a mini profile, a reminder of who they are and what we connected on.
Exactly. But it's not about reducing them to data points. It's a tool for connection.
I see. So using those notes to personalize future interactions, showing you were paying attention.
Right. It's those little touches that make a difference. And Lowndes reminds us these techniques aren't just about social success.
It's about building a more fulfilling life through genuine connections.
Exactly. This is making me realize how much potential is in every interaction.
Right. Even those quick encounters. It's about being present, being curious, open to connection. But not every conversation is going to be perfect. What about when things get awkward?
Lowndes talks about the ethics of communication. Using these techniques wisely.
That's important. Just because we know the tricks doesn't mean we should manipulate people.
Right. It's about authenticity, integrity. She talks about see no bloopers, hear no bloopers.
Meaning?
Overlooking those minor social faux pas.
Yeah.
Letting people save face.
So if someone spills their drink or forgets my name, I just pretend it didn't happen. Seems a little dishonest.
Think of it more as kindness, compassion. We all make mistakes. Sometimes the best thing is to let it slide.
Especially at parties where people are already self-conscious.
Exactly. Creating a supportive environment where people can be themselves.
It's like saying, hey, it's okay to be imperfect.
Right. We're all human. We all have those moments. Sometimes the best connection is just a smile, a nod, letting them know it's okay.
So often we try to present this perfect image.
And we forget to just be ourselves.
And embracing our imperfections can actually make us more relatable.
Exactly. Who wants to be around someone who's always perfect? It's intimidating, not genuine.
So it's about being comfortable with who we are, flaws and all.
And maybe even having a little fun with those flaws. This brings us back to one of Lowndes' main points, authenticity.
Right. All these techniques are about connecting in a more genuine way.
Not about putting on an act. They're tools to enhance our communication, not replace it.
This has been eye-opening.
Yeah.
Communication is so much more than words.
It's everything. Body language, tone, energy, and tension.
And we all have the power to be better communicators. Not by being someone else, but by being ourselves.
Well said. So what's the key takeaway from our deep dive? One piece of advice for those wanting to improve their skills.
Yeah, what's the big one?
It's not about memorizing tricks. It's about genuine curiosity about others, a willingness to truly listen, a commitment to building connections.
That's beautiful. So go out there, be curious, be kind, and be courageous in your conversations. You never know what amazing connections are waiting.
Until next time.